I do wonder what it was like whenever someone comes to you and approaches you about maybe taking on your law firm.
Yeah, so the Morgan model makes sense to me. Morgan and Morgan knows how to practice personal injury law. They've got systems, they've got processes, they've got trainers, they know what they're doing. They know how to process intake. They know what they're doing. I'm sure that everybody who's listening and you and me get a ton of emails saying we want to buy your firm, right? You get a ton of those, right?
Oh yeah. It's
So, mhm.
yeah, from different sources too, from a variety of different sources. Yeah.
Right. And so I've always wanted to like know what that means. So every once in a while I'll just respond to some of them and be like, "Yeah, tell me what's up." And up until this group that I talked to, they were all brokers. I'm an M&A. I've got my eye on the industry. Like that's where we were. But then this particular group introduced themselves specifically as a venture capital firm that wanted to buy firms and that had purchased other service based businesses and wanted to get into law. So I wanted to have that conversation and it went pretty quick. You know, I gave them my financials, I talked about my business model, they gave me an offer. The offer wasn't enough, like at all. And they needed me to run it because they don't know how to run it. They don't have a business model. So that's the thing with venture capital is they're not well positioned to come in and scoop up and run law firms because they don't know how to do that. They don't know that business model. So they need law firm owners to do it for them. So unless they're going to pay a lot of money, it's not going to be in our best interest to do that.
Yeah. I do think that there's a lot of firms, and I agree with you to a certain extent about Morgan and Morgan and their model being the right way. Because I'm convinced there's a lot of law firm owners out there that are sort of accidental law firm owners
Yeah.
from the variety of recessions that have happened over the last 2 decades, where they kind of accidentally became this law firm owner and they stayed in it, and they've got this drawer of files that they would they'd be much happier if they just said, become my boss, take on all these files. I need this staff, but they don't have like this exit plan, and they don't really feel like they have anywhere to go. So I do think that there is a way that you could go out and you could find those types of firms and take on those firms. The only rub would be is that those law firm owners that are these accidental law firm owners are probably have terrible habits at this point. They don't know how to become an employee. They've got all this freedom of being a law firm owner. And that's where there is this like, I think there's a market for it, but there's also, there has to be very clear expectations going into a relationship like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've certainly hired those, let's call them duds. People who can't, I mean, they can't fit into the system and just do the thing. And like our expectations are real reasonable and real clear, and not everybody can do that.
Yeah, and I mean, if I'm being really fair, like I don't think it would be really hard for me to become an employee. If someone were to hire me, let's say they took on my firm, I don't know if I could do it. I really don't know if I could become an employee. I might be able to. I might be
I
able to do
bet
it for
you
a little bit.
could. I bet you could under the right circumstances, which is you have the freedom to do anything you want to do, communicate, get your job done well, take care of your clients. That's essentially our model. Like, yes, we have all the ways to do it, but you make your own schedule. We're not going to tell you how to do the job, but you have to do it well.
Very true. And I mean, kind of get back to the focus thing. I mean, figuring out what the right focus is, a really important part. I want to ask you about, there's a ton of money. There's hundreds of millions, there may be billions at this point, flooding into legal tech. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. I understand if it were flooding into like legal AI stuff, but it's just legal tech in general. Like, can you make any sense of that?